All right, we're good to go.
Okay. Today will be May 17th, 2021. My name is David Patty, State and City Councilor, and I will be acting as the budget chair until we have the opportunity to elect a new one tonight going forward. So, without further ado, we want to go ahead and entertain a motion for that from anybody on the budget committee.
Did you want to do roll call first?
Yes, go ahead. Sorry, Alyssa, I always
No, it's
forget that.
okay.
Go ahead.
So let's see. Mayor Porter,
Sure.
Councilor Hook,
Present.
Councilor McDonald,
Here.
Councilor Mullen,
Here.
Councilor Ort,
Here.
and Councilor Patty.
I'm here.
Luke Cranston does not look like he has signed on this evening. Connie Dominguez.
I'm here.
Okay. And Ralph Lewis has not signed on this evening. Brent Walker also has not signed on this evening. Julia McFerrin.
Here.
There she is. And Alan Kingsley, he has also not signed on this evening. And just so that you're aware of what staff is here, I'm here, the city manager, Keith Campbell's here, chief of police, David Frisendahl is here, and finance director, Susanna Raja, and our planning and development director, Dan Fleischman, and public works director, Lance Ludwig. Now I'm done.
Very good. Thank you so much, Alyssa. I appreciate that. So if everybody's had a chance to look at the agenda, as I mentioned before prematurely, the next item of business will be to elect a new chair for the 2021-2022 budget year. I will entertain a motion for that now.
Chair Patty.
Go ahead, Councilor Hook. Sorry.
Councilor Hook, go right ahead.
This is Councilor Hook. I would like to make a motion to have Councilor Patty become chair again for the budget cycle this year.
That sounds about what I was going to say. Rhymes with Councilor Patty. I second that motion.
All right. Well, thanks very much, guys. So we have a motion and a second to elect myself as budget chair for the 2021 and 2022 budget years. We have a motion and a second. So Alyssa, will you go ahead and poll the committee?
Sure. Julia?
Yep, sounds good.
Julia.
And Connie?
Yes.
Mayor Porter?
Yes.
Councilor Hook?
Yes.
Councilor McDonald?
Yes.
Councilor Mullen?
Yes.
Councilor Ort? Looks like she might be having some technical difficulties. I'll come back to her. Councilor Patty?
I'll abstain for this one.
Okay. And Councilor Ort? If you can give a thumbs up, Councilor Ort, that would probably work also. Yeah,
pretty frozen.
I think she's frozen. Okay. Oh, yep, we lost her. All right, so motion passes 6-0 with, I'm going to say, one abstention and one unsure because she's frozen. Good old technical difficulties.
Okay. So looks like the next item is to elect a vice chair, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion at this point to elect a vice chair.
I would like to nominate Councilor McDonald as vice chair.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Yes, Counselor Hook seconds.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to nominate Ben McDonald, counselor, as vice chair of the Finance Committee. Melissa, can you go ahead and pull the council or committee? Excuse me.
Yes, and Jordan is just popping back in. I'm going to let her in, but I know she wasn't here for the motion.
Oh, okay.
So I'll start going through the roll call, and we can go from there. All right.
Okay.
Mayor Porter,
Yes.
Counselor Hook,
Yes.
Connie,
Yes.
and Julia,
Yes.
Counselor McDonald.
I will abstain.
Okay. Just writing this down. Counselor Patty.
Yes.
All right, and did I forget somebody? I feel like, Counselor Mullen? Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, somebody didn't vote. Counselor Mullen. Yes, okay. And then Jordan, just so you know what we were voting on, it was appointing Counselor McDonald as vice chair.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
All right, so motion passes 6-0 with an abstention.
Okay. Okay, so looks
good.
like it's me and Ben this year. Let's move on forward to the next item of business. I believe, and I don't have my agenda in front of me because of some technical difficulties here, but I believe the next item is the message from the city administrator, correct?
So close. We've got sorry, one more little item.
That's right.
The approval
Consent
of
agenda from last year.
Yeah, we've
Okay.
got the minutes from May 12th of last year, and then the work session that we did in March, on March
Right.
29th.
All right, and I have had a chance to review those myself prior to this meeting. I'll entertain a motion at this point to accept those.
So moved.
Thank you, Mayor Porter.
Yes.
Second from Counselor Mullen.
Thank you, Councilor Mullen. So we have a motion and a second. Melissa, you want to go ahead and poll the committee on that as well?
Yes, one more
Thank you.
round of our polling here. And I won't forget Chris this time, so we'll start with him. Counselor Mullen?
Yes.
Okay. Connie?
Yes.
Julia?
Yes.
Counselor Hook?
Yes.
Counselor McDonald?
Yes.
Counselor Ort?
Did that work? Yes.
Okay. And Counselor Patty?
Yes.
All right, motion passes 7-0.
Okay.
I was going to vote yes also.
Oh, and Mayor
Oh,
Porter.
no.
I did forget somebody this time. Mayor Porter.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, all right. Without further ado, and sorry to keep jumping the gun on this, Keith, let's turn it over to you and get the message from the city administrator. Thank you so much. You're muted, Keith.
Now, thank you, Councilor Patty and members of the Budget Committee. Before we get started, I think one thing I wanted to share with this group and then with anyone at home watching, when we transitioned over to a GFOA budget, one of the changes we made was to do an introductory budget where we now make this a live document. We read the budget message and then we give a week before we come back. What we want is time for everyone to go through. During this time, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to reach out to me or the staff members in the individual budget. But we're looking for robust conversations and to make sure that as we go through our process next week, that everyone feels engaged and comfortable and has had an opportunity to feel like they can ask the questions that need to be asked. So just wanted to clarify why we're doing it this way. And so with that, let me take off my glasses so I can read, and bear with me as I read my budget message here. Honorable Mayor Porter, members of the Stayton City Council, citizen members of the Budget Committee, and citizens of the City of Stayton. It is my privilege to submit the proposed budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022. This budget is the city's single most important policy document. Its purposes are to provide a comprehensive overview of all city funds and services and to give residents a better understanding of the city's operating and fiscal programs. The proposed fiscal year 2021-2022 City of Stayton budget totals $26,161,500 with a proposed general fund budget of $6,465,700. The City of Stayton's fiscal year 2021-22 budget has been prepared pursuant to Oregon local budget law and the city's financial policies. It presents my recommendations as the City of Stayton budget officer, setting standards and establishing action, operational and financial plans for the delivery of the city services from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. This budget proposal includes a CPI adjustment as per our fiscal policy of 2.4% for the city's utility bill, which includes wastewater, stormwater, and street. There is a proposed 5% increase in the water portion of the utility bill. Background. This will be the 6th year in a row that the city has presented a budget document that follows the Government Finance Officers Association, GFOA, best practices in local budgeting. We continue to enhance the quality of our budget document by providing data, definitions, resources, and long-term planning that is dedicated to the belief that the city's budget will be accessible and understandable to the citizens of our community. A budget should serve as a policy document, a financial plan, an operations guide, a communication device with stakeholders. The budget process should accomplish the following: involve stakeholders, identify stakeholder issues and concerns, obtain stakeholder support for the overall budgeting process, achieve stakeholder acceptance of the decisions related to goals, services, and resource utilization, report to stakeholders on services and resource utilization, and serve generally to enhance the stakeholders' view of government. The 12 elements of the budget process establish broad goals to guide government decision-making. 1. Assess community needs, priorities, challenges, and opportunities. 2. Identify opportunities and challenges for government services, capital assets, and management. 3. Develop and disseminate broad goals, develop approaches to achieve goals. 4. Adapt financial policy. 5. Develop programmatic operating and capital policies and plans. 6. Develop programs and services that are consistent with the policies and plans. 7. Develop management strategies, develop a budget consistent with the approaches to achieve goals. 8. Develop a process for preparing and adopting a budget. 9. Develop and evaluate financial options. 10. Make choices necessary to adopt a budget, evaluate performance, and make adjustments. 11. Monitor, measure, and evaluate performance. 12. Make adjustments as needed. The budget document in front of you is an accumulation of 6 years of work. The transition from a line item budget to a GFOA budget is a massive undertaking and requires consistent caretaking. The budget is the most critical document in local government. It lays out the goals and values of the community and the short and long-term opportunities and challenges. We have an obligation to the stakeholders of our community to be as open and as transparent as we can in this budgeting process and to make the work product accessible to everyone in our community. In the 2020-21 budget, the unknown impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic led to a thoughtful and cautious approach in our budget and our spending. It seemed prudent to remain cautious and conservative on our spending. From March of 2020 through this budget, I have been humbled and honored to work with the entire leadership team. Every single department took a city-first approach to spending and looked for ways to be good stewards for the taxpayers at a time of so much turmoil and uncertainty. In a time when departments could have become siloed and adversarial and competing for limited resources, the entire leadership team came together with a greater good approach and attitude. From the beginning of the pandemic, the leadership team took proactive measures to be good stewards for the community. The city did not fill open positions, and current staff was willing to take on extra duties, going above and beyond expectations. Projects were put on hold. As a whole, the city staff came together as a team to accept the challenges and avoid budgetary pitfalls. This cohesion was critical as the city dealt with additional challenges of the Beachy Creek fire in early September of 2020, and the February 2020 winter ice storm. Through the difficulties and adversity, the city avoided challenges that beset other communities in Oregon with employee layoffs and furlough. Council goals. On February 2nd, 2019, the City Council and the staff held an all-day retreat to identify and set City Council goals. The retreat was led by SSW Consulting. On April 1st, 2019, the City Council adopted their goals. These goals set out guidelines and expectations of priorities in both the short and long terms. The proposed budget sets forth continued efforts to accomplish these goals. Goal, develop economic development strategies through economic development strategic plans, development for marketing, urban renewal, and infrastructure improvements. The economic development plan was completed in the 2019-2020 fiscal year. The 2020-21 budget proposes $30,000 in the planning and development budget for land use and potential assistance with property development. And the 2020-21 budget, $325,000 was budgeted to complete the Golf Club Road, Wilco Road, Shaft Road roundabout design. The 21-22 budget includes $150,000 coming from the street SDC funds to complete this work. Goal, conduct a citywide facility needs assessment and address infrastructure needs at the pool and the community center. $100,000 was budgeted in fiscal year 19 and 20 to complete a facilities need assessment. Initially, the assessment was to be completed during the 19-20 budget cycle. The project has continued to be delayed due to the pandemic. To complete the project, $50,000 is carried over in the 2021-22 budget. Goal, fund emergency management. $20,000 was adopted in the 19-20 budget for emergency management, with continued funding of $100,000 for the 21-22 fiscal budget year. Goal, complete updates to the sewer, water, stormwater, and parks master plans. The city has completed the transportation master plan and the wastewater master plan. The 21-22 budget includes $225,000 for the water master plan. Goal, search for a secondary water source. In 2019, the city completed an analysis study on the options for a secondary water source. The 2021 water fund budget included $154,000 for a matching grant from the state of Oregon for a Stayton aquifer storage and recovery feasibility study. The 2021-22 budget includes $80,000 to complete this project. A summary. We have attempted to highlight several key components and issues of our budget. This message isn't intended to be all-encompassing. Staff has worked hard to provide information, data, highlights, changes, and active transparency for all funds and departments. I encourage the reader to take the time to review and understand what the city is doing and how we are utilizing our resources. The budget should define the values of our community. We want unselfish partners in this process. This was our 6th GFOA best practices budget. A comparison of this budget to our 2014-2015 budget will show the significant growth, development, and evolution of our budget. Even in the GFOA framework, our budget continues to evolve and we continue to enhance the data and information. This budget should be examined, considered, discussed, and questioned. This budget is just a proposal. It is, until approved, merely a draft. Your input will only improve the quality of the final product. The budget should be a narrative and the reflection of the values of our community, and the approval of the Budget Committee is a statement of the final and approved budget is a direct reflection of where we, as a community, are spending our time, our energy, and our resources. The creation of a budget, even in relatively certain times, is challenging. Doing so with so much uncertainty of the short and long-term impacts of COVID-19 is extremely difficult. In the past, we could predict with more confidence a realistic framework of the coming budget year. These standard assumptions cannot be done with the same level of confidence with this budget, and to try to do so would be disingenuous. The budget data is filled with uncertain data. We have done our best to try to see if we can find the signal through the noise, and when in doubt, remain cautious. This was a statement that was made last year and it bears repeating. If the COVID-19 impacts are short in nature, then we will be in a better position to move forward in the coming years. If the financial impacts are longer in scope, our levels of spending will need to be significantly reduced. We are obligated to present this budget and the budget forecast to you now and to receive approval before July 1st. It is important to note the spending authorities that are adopted in this budget will need to be evaluated through the budget year. The staff and the governing body will need to be mindful of the unfolding economic conditions and to be flexible and cautious in our approach. Time will continue to provide more clarity and will be needed to guide us for the realities of the data. In the short term, we have flatlined estimated property tax revenue in the anticipation of reduction in collections and potential long-term decreases in revenue. We have flattened anticipated gas tax revenues. We have done our best to estimate the volatile consumer price index and the concerns with recent spikes in inflation. We have carefully considered variable expenses. Every budget is a living, breathing document, and there should be no better example of this budget as we move forward in uncertain times. Hope. While the 2021-22 budget remains cautious, there is reason for optimism going forward. It seems worthy to talk about some of the potential positive news for our future and our budget. This budget is written under the assumption that the local option levy renewals will be unsuccessful. If the levies fail, then this budget is prepared for this reality. If the library levy and or the recreational levy is or are approved by the electorate, then the impact funds of the library and or pool and parks will need to be adjusted to account for the new monies allocated for these levies. The City of Stayton has been allocated $1,523,507 through the America Rescue Act plan. The city will receive half the total allocation this summer, totaling $761,753.50. The second allocation of an equal amount will be delivered in the summer of 2022. City staff will be working with the governing body and the community to utilize these resources within the scope of the ARAP requirements and as is determined by the best interest of the community in the 21-22 fiscal year. As we continue to face new and unique external challenges, city staff remains positive and proactive in ensuring essential services are being met while planning for the future. Thank you. The budget document is the result of a team effort among city staff. I want to thank Susanna Spraja for her significant contributions to the behind-the-scenes work on the data and formulas which comprise the heart of this document. I want to thank Summer Sears for her insight and perspectives, and Alyssa Angelo for making this document user-friendly. I want to thank department heads Lance Ludwig, Dan Fleshman, Jana Mosier, Alyssa Angelo, and David Friesendahl, who have actively contributed to the final document. Finally, I want to thank the governing body who supported and encouraged the staff in this journey. I hope everyone is proud of this document as I am. Our budget truly is a benchmark for any community of any size in the country. Respectfully submitted, Keith Campbell.
Okay. Thank you, Keith. I appreciate that. It's excellent. So like Keith had said, take your time to go ahead and review this document and be prepared to present comments and listen to more from department heads at 6 p.m. on May 24th coming up here. With that, we will go ahead and adjourn since we don't have anything else on the agenda now that I have it in front of me at looks like 6:55 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.